Hello students, I am Srinivas, Department of Chemistry, Sahyadri College, Kolar, and welcome to part 1 of the chapter Organic Chemistry, some basic principles and techniques. So in this class, we have to learn what's the difference between organic and inorganic compounds. The name organic chemistry is derived from organisms. The name organic chemistry is derived from organisms. So it has been known that plants, animals and minerals. It has been known that plants, animals and minerals. So these are the three major sources of naturally occurring substances. Plants, animals and minerals are the three major sources of naturally occurring substances, but it was only around the year of 1780 that the scientists divided these three substances into two classes based on their sources. Number one, organic compounds, and number two, inorganic compounds. So plants and animals, they comes under organic compounds, minerals, they comes under inorganic compounds. So compounds like urea, oils, fats, proteins, vitamins, urea, oils, fats, proteins, vitamins, etc. So which are isolated directly or indirectly from living organisms such as plants and animals were called organic compounds, and the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of these compounds what we call organic chemistry. In the same way, compounds like marbles, alums are common salt. So which are isolated from non-living sources such as minerals or you can say rocks. So these compounds are isolated from minerals or rocks were called inorganic compounds, and the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of these compounds what we call inorganic chemistry. The next topic is vital force theory. Until early 19th century, it was believed that organic compounds cannot be prepared in chemical laboratories, but can only be isolated from living organisms such as plants and animals. So on the basis of this, a scientist called Berzelius, a leading Swedish chemist, in 1815, he put forward a theory called vital force theory. According to this theory, organic compounds are produced only under the influence of some mysterious force that exists in the living organisms. That mysterious force what we call vital force. So vital force is also known as unknown force or it is also known as mysterious force. So Berzelius ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ವಿತ್ ದ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್. ಆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ he called that force as vital force, or it is also known as unknown force, or it is also known as mysterious force. Such mysterious force cannot be created artificially. It exists only in the living organisms, and it is impossible to synthesize organic compounds in chemical laboratories. Since this vital force theory reigned supreme for a number of years. However, in 1828, a scientist called Friedrich. In 1828, a scientist called Friedrich, he made an interesting discovery. He accidentally obtained a well-known organic compound called urea from an inorganic compound called ammonium cyanide without living system. So what he made? He obtained organic compound called urea from an inorganic compound called ammonium cyanide without living system. So when we heated ammonium cyanide, we will get urea. It is the first organic compound prepared in laboratory, and it is ammonium cyanide. It is inorganic compound and it is organic compound. Friedrich, he obtained a well-known organic compound called urea from an inorganic compound ammonium cyanide without living system. Hence, urea was the first organic compound prepared in chemical laboratory. However, in 1845, a scientist called Colbert, he obtained or he synthesized acetic acid, and in 1856, a scientist called Berthelot, he obtained or he synthesized methane. In 1845, Colbert synthesized acetic acid, and in 1856, a scientist called Berthelot, he synthesized methane. And after few years, thousands of organic compounds are synthesized in chemical laboratories, and finally in 1860, this proved the vital force theory, and hence the name organic lost its original significance. The next topic is modern definition of organic chemistry. So we have studied carbon and its compounds in class 10, and you have a little bit idea of carbon and its compounds. Carbon is an element, is very interesting, and carbon shows a special property called catenation. Carbon, it shows a special property called catenation. Catenation means it is special property of carbon which forms a long chain-like structure. It forms a long chain-like structures, or it forms branch-like structures. It is the property of carbon which forms a long chain-like structures or branch-like structures. Therefore, in the periodic table, all the other elements together do not form as many compounds as carbon. Hence, carbon is the most essential element in all the organic molecules. Therefore, the modern definition of organic chemistry would be, it is a branch of chemistry which deals with the study of carbon compounds and its derivatives. The next topic is tetravalence of carbon. So carbon is the most essential element of all the organic molecules, and carbon has electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. In other words, carbon has 4 electrons in the valence shell and thus needs 4 more electrons to complete its octet. Therefore, carbon is always tetravalent. Carbon is always tetravalent. Consequently, it is very difficult for carbon to either gain or lose 4 more electrons to achieve nearest inert gas configuration. Why it is difficult for carbon to either gain or lose the electrons? I will take lithium as an example. So, inert gases andre gottidalva ellargu, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. So helium, it has atomic number 2, neon, it has atomic number 10, 18, 36 and so on. So in case of lithium, it has electronic configuration 1s2, 2s1. So in a valence shell, lithium has only 1 electron. In order to achieve nearest inert gas configuration, lithium, it has to lose 1 electron. ಏನು 1 electron ಇದೆ, ಈ 1 electron ನ ಕಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. It has to lose 1 electron, or it has to gain how many electrons? It has to gain 7 electrons. In order to achieve nearest inert gas configuration, lithium, it has to lose 1 electron or it has to gain 7 electrons. Instead of gaining 7 electrons, it is easily lose 1 electron. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 1s2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ 2 ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ helium configuration. Helium is inert gas. So instead of gaining 7 electrons, lithium easily loses 1 electron. So in the same way, I will take nitrogen as an example. It has electronic configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So this nitrogen, it has 5 electrons in the valence shell. In order to achieve stable inert gas configuration, this nitrogen, it has to lose 5 electrons. 3 plus 2 5. ಈ 5 electrons ನ ಬಿಡಬೇಕು. Or in order to achieve inert gas configuration, it has to gain 3 electrons. So 5 electrons ನ ಬಿಡೋದು ಈಸಿನಾ 3 electrons ನ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಈಸಿನಾ 3 electrons ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಈಸಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. So this nitrogen, it easily gains 3 electrons. When it gains 3 electrons, it becomes neon configuration. 3 plus 2 5 is 5 plus 3 8. 8 plus 2 10, it becomes neon configuration. But in case of carbon, it has 4 electrons in the valence shell. In order to achieve the inert gas configuration, it has to lose 4 electrons or it has to gain 4 electrons. Therefore, it is very difficult for carbon to either gain or lose the electrons. That's why carbon always combines with other atoms by mutual sharing of electrons and forms a strong covalent bonds. Therefore, carbon is tetracovalent. Carbon is tetracovalent. Therefore, the type of chemical bonding in organic molecules is always covalent. For example, I will take methane. Methane, it has formula CH4. So carbon, it has how many electrons in the valence shell? It has 4 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hydrogen, it has atomic number 1. Electronic configuration is 1s1. So 1s1 is nothing but it has how many electrons? 1 electron. So ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಜೊತೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. So there is a sharing of mutual sharing of electrons. So these bonds are nothing but covalent bonds, strongest bonds ಅಂತ ಆದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. So same ಅದೇ ತರ ನಾವು ಈಥೇನ್ ಬರೀಬಹುದು C2H6. Carbon, this carbon has 4 valence electrons and this carbon has 4 valence electrons. Same C2H6 alpha formula. Here one hydrogen, one more hydrogen and one more hydrogen. Same. So there will be a mutual sharing of electrons. So instead of either to lose or gain the electrons, carbon always combines with other atoms by mutual sharing of electrons and form a covalent bonds. The next topic is shapes of carbon compounds and hybridization. So in that hybridization of carbon. So carbon shows only 3 types of hybridization: sp3, sp2 and sp. sp3 type of hybridization is shown by alkanes. sp2 type of hybridization is shown by alkenes. sp type of hybridization is shown by alkynes. So sp3 type of hybridization is nothing but carbon-carbon single bond. sp2 type of hybridization is nothing but carbon-carbon double bond. sp type of hybridization is nothing but carbon-carbon triple bond. So I take methane, ethene and ethane as an example. We have to find out the hybridization of all these 3 examples. So before going to the hybridization, we have to know some orbitals and suborbitals present in them. So what are the orbitals? S, P, D, F. These are the orbitals, or these are the main atomic orbitals. In s orbital we have only one suborbital. We have only one suborbital. In case of p orbital we have three suborbitals. In case of d we have five suborbitals. In case of f we have seven suborbitals. Remember one thing, the first bond formed between two atoms is always sigma bond and the remaining or the rest of them are pi bonds. The first bond formed between two atoms is always sigma bond and the rest of them are pi bonds. So in this case, the bond formed between carbon and hydrogen is sigma bond. But in this case, we have two bonds. I already told you the first bond formed between two atoms is sigma bond and the remaining are pi bond. So in this case, it is sigma bond and it is pi bond. Similarly, in this case, the first bond is always sigma bond and the rest of them are pi bonds. So how we find out the hybridization? Suppose we have four hybridized orbitals. We have four hybridized orbitals. So hybridization is always start from S. So yes, we have only one suborbital. It's over. Then we should go for p orbital. In p orbital we have how many suborbitals? 3. So sp3. So 3 plus 1 4. If we have 4 hybridized orbital, the hybridization should be sp3. Suppose we have 6 hybridized orbitals. Namatra hybridized orbital 6 is ankoodi. If we have 6 hybridized orbitals, once again we should start from S. So yes, we have only one suborbital. Then after S we should go for P. P we have only 3 suborbitals, sp3. So after the completion of p orbital we should go for d orbital. In d orbital we have 5 suborbitals. But in this case we don't need all the 5 suborbitals. We require how many suborbitals? 3 plus 1 4 ಆಗಿದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ. We required only 2 suborbitals. D we required only 2 suborbitals. Suppose if we have 6 hybridized orbitals, the hybridization should be sp3 d2. So let's see one by one. So in this case, how many sigma bonds are present? The first bond formed between two atoms is always sigma bond. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So number of sigma bonds are 4. We have 4 sigma bonds. There is one formula to calculate hybridization. That is number of sigma bonds plus lone pairs or negative charge. It is a formula to calculate hybridization. Number of sigma bonds plus number of lone pairs or negative charge. So in this case we have only sigma bonds. There is no lone pairs and there is no negative charge. We have only 4 sigma bonds. So 4 sigma bonds means what is the hybridization of this carbon? So we should start from S. So after the completion of S, we should go for p orbital. In p orbital we have how many suborbitals? 3. So we require 3 p orbitals here. So hybridization is sp3. Next, what is the shape or what is the structure of methane? So just I will connect all the bonds. So it looks like tetrahedral. So the hybridization is tetrahedral. So then we should go for ethene. So in case of ethene, both the carbon atoms they look similar. So if we calculate hybridization for any one carbon atom, it's enough. So in this case, for this carbon atom, there are 1 sigma bond, 2 sigma bonds, and here also 1 sigma bond, and this one is pi bond. So in this case, number of sigma bonds are 3. 1, 2, 3. Number of sigma bonds are 3. Remember one thing: pi bond do not involved in hybridization. So number of sigma bonds are 3. There is no any lone pair and there is no negative charge in case of ethene also. So number of sigma bonds are 3 means what is the hybridization? First we should start from S. So after the completion of S we should go for P. In case of P we have 3 suborbitals, but in this case we don't need all the three P suborbitals. We require only 2. The hybridization is sp2. So 2 plus 1 3. Next, what is the shape or what is the structure of ethene? I will connect all the bonds. It looks like trigonal planar. The structure is trigonal planar. Then we should go for ethane. So in this case, for this carbon, when both the carbons look similar, we calculate for any one is enough. So we have 2 sigma bonds, 1, 2, and the remaining 2 bonds are pi bonds. So number of sigma bonds are 2. So in this case also there is no lone pairs and there is no negative charge. So number of sigma bonds are 2. We should start from S. Then after the completion of S, we should go for P. So in this case we require only 1 P suborbital. Sp. The hybridization is sp. And the structure it look like linear. Therefore the structure is linear. Next one, acetone. So in this case we have how many sigma bonds? 1, 2, and in this case C double bond O. One is sigma bond and another one is pi bond. So total the number of sigma bonds are 3. We have 3 sigma bonds and there is no lone pair and there is no negative charge in this case. So number of sigma bonds are 3 means hybridization should be sp2. One suborbital from S and 2 suborbitals from p orbital. The hybridization is sp2. If the hybridization is sp2 means it is trigonal planar. Geometry or shape is trigonal planar. So in this case, methyl carbocation. So in this case, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 sigma bonds. 3 sigma bonds means the hybridization should be sp2. And it looks like trigonal planar. Next, in this case, we have only 2 sigma bonds. 1, 2. But in this case, there will be a presence of lone pairs. So it is known as lone pair. The number of sigma bonds are 2 plus how many lone pairs are present? 1 pair. 2 plus 1 lone pair. 2 sigma bonds and 1 lone pair. So 2 plus 1 3. So 3 means the hybridization should be sp2. But sp2 hybridization is nothing but the shape is trigonal planar. But in this case, the shape is not trigonal planar. The presence of lone pairs changes the geometry, or the presence of lone pairs changes the shape of the molecule. So the shape it looks like V shape. It looks like V shape, or it looks like angular shape, or it is bent shape. Remember one thing, the presence of lone pairs changes the geometry. Okay, let's see some objective questions. First one, tetravalence of carbon is possible in the case of sp3, sp2, sp, and option D is all of this. Tetravalence of carbon is possible in the case of sp3 hybridization, option B sp2 hybridization, option C sp hybridization, option D all of these. Let's see one by one. In case of sp3 hybridization, sp3 hybridization is nothing but carbon which contains 4 sigma bonds. Carbon so this is sp3 hybridized carbon atom. Then in case of sp2 hybridization is nothing but carbon which contains 3 sigma bonds. Carbon so it is sp2 hybridized carbon, or the name of this molecule is ethene. Then in this case sp is nothing but there will be a presence of 2 sigma bonds. Let's see here. In this case, number of sigma bonds are 1, 2, 3, 4. There will be a presence of 4 sigma bonds. If carbon contains 4 sigma bonds, that is sp3 hybridized carbon atom. If there will be a presence of 3 sigma bonds, in this case 1, 2, 3. For this carbon, there will be a presence of 1 sigma bond, here 1 sigma bond, and here 1 sigma bond. Total number of sigma bonds are 3. There will be a presence. So if carbon atom contains 3 sigma bonds, the hybridization is sp2. If there will be a presence of 2 sigma bonds, the hybridization is sp. So in this case, for this carbon, there will be a presence of only 2 sigma bonds. This is 1 sigma bond and this is 1 sigma bond. Obviously for this carbon atom, it is 1 sigma bond and it is 1 sigma bond. So in this case, the total number of sigma bonds for each carbon is 2. Therefore the hybridization is sp. But the question is, tetravalence of carbon is possible in the case of. So in this case, this carbon which contains 4, or this carbon, it is surrounded by 4 bonds. So in this case, there will be a presence of tetravalency, or this carbon, or in case of sp3 hybridization, the carbon atom it exhibits tetravalency, or the carbon which shows tetravalency. So in this carbon, in this case, I mean in case of sp2 hybridized carbon atom, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case also there will be a presence of 4 bonds around the carbon atom. This carbon also shows tetravalency. 1, 2, 3, 4. This carbon atom also shows tetravalency. There will be a presence of 4 bonds around the carbon atom. Therefore, tetravalence of carbon is possible in the case of sp3, sp2 and sp. Therefore, the option D is correct. In all the cases, carbon shows tetravalency. Second one, in alene. Alenes are nothing but dienes anta heltivi. In alenes, formula kottidane C3H4. The type or types of hybridization of the carbon atom or atoms is R anta kottidane. Type, I mean, ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಟೈಪ್ ಇರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದಾನೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ 3 ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಆಟಮ್ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡೈಸೇಷನ್ ಒಂದೇ ಇರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ದ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈಬ್ರಿಡೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಆಟಮ್ ಈಸ್, ನೋಡೋಣ, ಅಲ್ಲಿನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಡೈನ್ಸ್. Alines are nothing but dienes. Dienes nothing but there will be a presence of 2 double bonds. There is nothing but 2. ENE is nothing, which implies double bonds. AN is nothing but single bond. EN is nothing but double bond. So there will be a presence of 2 double bonds in the compound. Formula ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದು ಏನು, C3H4. 1, 2, 3. So alines are nothing but dienes. There will be a presence of 2 double bonds. So 2 double bonds ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ first. Next, carbon valence satisfy ಮಾಡಿ. Hydrogen ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ. Satisfy ಮಾಡಿ. 1, 2. 1 2 3 4 ಮುಗಿತು. For this carbon 1 2 3 4 there will be presence of 4 bonds. Then for this carbon total C3 1 2 3 3 carbon atoms, hydrogens are 4 1 2 3 4. So in this case we have to find out the hybridization of each carbon atom. If carbon contains 4 sigma bonds, the hybridization is sp3. 3 sigma bonds, hybridization sp2. 2 sigma bonds, hybridization is sp. For this carbon, check out how many sigma bonds are present. 1 2 3. So in this carbon there will be a presence of 3 sigma bonds. Therefore the hybridization of this carbon atom is sp2. Then for this carbon atom, 1 sigma bond and 1 more sigma bond. There will be a presence of 2 sigma bonds for this carbon. If the carbon contains 2 sigma bonds, there is nothing but sp hybridization. For this case, or for this carbon atom, 1 2 3. So this carbon atom contains 3 sigma bonds. The hybridization is sp2. So in this compounds we will get 2 types of hybridization. One sp hybridization and the remaining are sp2. Total sp and sp2 hybridized carbon atoms are present in this molecule. Therefore option A ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, sp and sp3 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. So ಇದಲ್ಲ. Option B sp and sp2. sp ಇದೆ ನಮಗೆ and sp2 ಇದೆ. So therefore the option B is correct. Next question, the state of hybridization of C2, C3, C5 and C6 of the hydrocarbon. So this is hydrocarbon. In this hydrocarbon we have to find the hybridization of second carbon atom, third carbon atom, fifth carbon atom and sixth carbon atom. We have to find out the hybridization of all these four carbon atoms in sequence. So first second carbon atom find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. second carbon atom find out ಮಾಡಿದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ third carbon atom find out ಮಾಡಿದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ fifth carbon atom and then sixth carbon atom. So ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, if carbon contains 4 sigma bonds, sp3 hybridization, 3 sigma bonds sp2, 2 sigma bonds sp. So first ಯಾವ find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಾವು, second carbon atom. So look at the second carbon atom. This carbon atom contains 2 sigma bonds, 1 2. So if the carbon contains 2 sigma bonds, the hybridization is sp. So hybridization of this carbon is sp. So again second carbon atom the hybridization ಸಿಕ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಏನು sp. Then we should go for third carbon atom. Check ಮಾಡಿ. This carbon atom contains 1 sigma bond, 1 more sigma bond, 1 more sigma bond and 1 more sigma bond. Total the number of sigma bonds are 4. 4 sigma bonds are nothing but sp3 hybridization. So this carbon atom it shows sp3 hybridization. So third carbon atom to siktu. Third carbon atom it shows sp3 hybridization. Then we should go for fifth carbon atom. Here nodi, this carbon atom which contains 1 2 3. Total number of sigma bonds 3. So if carbon contains 3 sigma bonds, the hybridization is sp2. So hybridization of this carbon is sp2. So fifth carbon atom the hybridization siktu sp2. Then last one is sixth carbon atom. Check ಮಾಡಿ. This carbon atom contains 1 sigma bond, 2 sigma bonds, 3 and 4. So total number of sigma bonds are 4. Therefore the hybridization of this carbon atom is sp3. So this is the sequence sp, sp3, sp2, sp3. ಈ ಸೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಎಸ್ ಪಿ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ 3, ಸೊ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ ಟು ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇದಲ್ಲ. ದೆನ್ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ 3 ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ 2 ಇದೆ, ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ 3 ಇದೆ, ಎಸ್ ಪಿ 3 ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ 2 ಅಂಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಪಿ 3. ಸೊ option D is the right, or option D is right. I hope you will understand very well. I will solve a few more examples in next class. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.